Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew Glezos. I'm one of the co-founders here of Toronto DAO. I've got the lovely Anna assisting me through the Toronto DAO accounts. They're not going to be speaking, but I just want to give a shout out to some of our core members that are here. We've got Samir listening in, another co-founder. We have Karan, who does amazing work with with our media and artwork, all those lovely like promotional material he is responsible for. So big shout out to Karan as well. But yeah, welcome to the Toronto DAO Space. We have a fantastic guest here today with DApps Over Apps. How's it going?
Hey, thank you so much for having us. My name is Abdulkareem Oyeneye. My personal account is super cool, but yeah, this is DApps Over Apps now. So, yeah, so like DApps Over Apps. So, basically, like, DApps Over Apps, we are like, we're a collective of developers that focus on advancing Web3 through like developer tooling and education. So, we build out core developer tooling for like different protocols like Ethereum, Arbitrum. We just recently like concluded something with Filecoin, which is a retrieval utility test. So basically, like we do more of like research and development, and also like education. Because we started with like education in terms of like onboarding people to like the space and all that. So yeah, that's pretty much like a whole like background of everything. And yeah, for Toronto DAO, I really like like what you guys have been doing. I've been seeing like a lot of like clips from um you guys in-person events with Fatima Tika, like I really like love all those like short clips on LinkedIn. And yeah, good work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It means a lot. Yeah, when I looked you guys up, it seems like we have some like synergy, but we're just doing some similar things, but in different parts of the world. I know you have a huge presence in Africa. Um, So, like, why don't you tell me a bit about about what goes on there?
Oh yeah. Well, I think we started off in Nigeria. Then from Nigeria, we like expanded our team to like people in Canada, and also like we didn't like leave our grassroots, so we still like doing like a lot of stuff back there in Africa. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on now for us, but one thing is that we have been like in terms of like because of we usually like do like this kind of like boss parties, like organize hackathons where builders will come and have fun, have drinks, and still like code, still have fun, have drinks, yeah, listen to music and do all those fun stuff while like building amazing products. So like recently, like about like I think early this year, we started like doing like more of like research and development rather than just like doing train like parties and hackathons always, because we are more of like we're more intentional now in our plans, in our work now this year, because we want to just not just like build products that are not sustainable, but do like this research and development to like see what is the problem affecting like sustainability, what is the problem behind like not launching like this product. So what is the problem of having like this kind of like building out this like nice interface, nice application, and not even like to getting the world to even use it. So like we're more of like doing like this research and development stage now, and doing like more of like indoor works, get get things all figured out before we like push out any hackathons for now. So that's basically like what we have been like up to so far. And for Canada, so Canada has been like very very like good to us. We sponsored like the Futurist conference with Arbitrum this year. So also part of what we're doing is like more of like back end works. You might not like necessarily like see that perhaps as like the forefront, but you might be surprised that we're like the engine, like powering like this stuff you're actually seeing at the forefront. Yeah. So yeah, this is like more of like a summary of what we have been like up to in like Nigeria and Canada. Yeah.
So that's really cool when you talked about how you're trying to create like a development, like social activity, because it's something we've toyed with ourselves. So like most of our main events, they're primed on networking. We have interesting panels. We have the food and the drinks, but we have toyed with the idea of having like a more developer focused event. Do you find a lot of people actually do code when you have such, or get a lot of developing work done when you have such events?
Yeah, we have a lot of people like we like always like get everywhere filled up because of we have like aside like from the coding aspect like we have a lot of people that code because of we actually like if we're doing an event we actually like intentional like come with your laptops, come with your chargers, come with like whatever thing that would assist you like in coding, then we'll give you like this nice atmosphere, very ventilated and all that, like good good seats and stuff like that. Like there's like interesting food because okay, most of like this coding exercise we do, most of them are usually in Nigeria. Well, I think we did one. Okay, yeah, we organized like the first ever event in Saskatchewan. So like that one was with like that was less of like coding, it was more of like a meetup or yeah, it still had like this coding exercise, but it was more of like a meetup, but most of what we do is like in this coding exercise, most of what we do is in Nigeria. So in Nigeria, there we have like this interesting, like we call it jollof rice. It's like one of like our best delicacies in Africa there. So we usually like have like huge budget for like this kind of foods. So when you're coding, you shouldn't even get tired of coding when you have like this kind of like smoky foods around you and all that. So I think it's all fun since we're like basically like those kind of like coding exercises like targeted at developers themselves and not even like just newbies. Yeah, so we get more of like people like doing the code. And another thing that also helps us is that we have like we don't just like bring people out to like come code. We have like instructors like that are like standby, like if you want to like if you're trying to like install like your Docker, your whatever technical thing you need to code, and you're like having problem with it based on, oh, this is like Web3 and it's different from like Web2, whereby you just like open like the VS Code and start coding. But we have like those people also like stand by to like help you do all this kind of stuff, check out what kind of like bugs are you having and issues like that. So it's like kind of like a seamless journey for like developers, and they always want to like come back again and come back again. And finally, we don't just like also like we do these exercises, we give them we attract like some kind of like bounties to it, like $500 bounty for like the best projects in quotes, or like a $2,000 bounty. So like those are like kind of like the old strategies around like the engagement and activities and all.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So I know you've already briefly touched upon this about creating like sustainable growth for Web3. Are there any other things that you are doing to try to achieve these goals other than the ones you've already mentioned?
Like do you like are you looking at something specific in terms of like the sustainable growth, like because I just want to like know how to like answer that question.
No, no, like you've already mentioned like a lot of things, and
Yeah.
like because we everyone knows it. It's a poorly kept secret that we have predetermined questions and everything, and you've answered a lot of them. You've kind of already answered this, but I just wanted to make sure you didn't realize anything else because you've done a lot of amazing things, and I don't want to leave anything out, so we can move
Okay.
past that if you want.
Yeah, yeah. For yeah, like for the sustainable growth, like I would say one thing we are doing again now. Let me touch more on that. Is we trying to like that's what happens now. We're trying to like before we started off like just like a community. Then now we're like more of like a collective of people that are actually like hands on. Like we have like a lot of like people people in like the cult scene like doing like a lot of like stuff. So one thing about like sustainability now, we are partnered with like a lot of like protocols on and off, on and off, on and off. So one thing about that's where like sustainability comes in now. That's where we're just like restructuring. So we're trying to like do something in the sense that when we like partner with anybody, we leave that like will I say stamp or like blueprint, like we leave our signature on it that that is sustainable in sense. So where am I like driving to now? So in terms of like when I say that we do DApps Over Apps now, we focus on doing like dev tooling, advancing Web3 to like dev tooling and education. So the dev tooling aspect is one side that we're trying to like focus very well on in terms of like Web3 is built in a way that is different for developers. Because of first of all, now we need to like get like the tech right. So the tech is not really right and sound. So that's where we are doing like more research on. So we try to like we're trying to like build out tools that developers will use to actually build tools easily. That developers will use to actually build products easily. That's like one way of trying to like be sustainable and like leave like that stamp on any ecosystem we work with or any like people we partner with. So a lot of like let me just like give like this like quick story and examples to like trying to like portray what I'm trying to say. A lot of like a few not a lot, a few ecosystems want to like organize hackathons with DApps over apps and developers with DApps over apps. But we have moved past the stage of not just organizing hackathons. We want to not just organize hackathons and leave developers hanging. What do I mean by leave developers hanging? Because of a lot of like these protocols and infrastructures have not really like gotten it right in terms of like their infrastructural base itself. So for instance now let's say like we're trying to like pull a hackathon with X chain, and X chain doesn't give you that kind of robust infrastructure for developers to build whatever they like. For instance, developer X wants to build a gaming solution on Exchange that promises a modular blockchain architecture, but there's no the developer would even like find find problems just writing our first two lines of code because Exchange in quotes doesn't have a proper structure, a proper like infrastructure in place. So we're trying to like, okay, if you want to organize a hackathon with us, we're trying to like do research on ourselves will also like build on your chain first, like let's see how it goes, let's see how it will go for developers because we are intentional about what we're doing now. So in that sense, we would propose to Exchange to like, oh, I think before we like start off with this hackathon, let's do like a very simple CLI for you guys to allow developers to build so and so very well before like just like delving into hackathons. Oh, we think before delving into like a proper large project hackathon, let's start with like a smaller hackathon price because your chain is not there yet in terms of like the infrastructure and all those kind of stuff. So this is where we are like leaving our blueprint and our stamp in terms of like working with like any protocol, not just like partner and just like for partnering sake, while like more intentional about like this partnership now in terms of like giving them like helping them solve like the tooling problem that they have and the tooling problem that developers building on that chain might encounter. So I think I don't know if you got the point because I think the explanation was like very too long, but I think you should get the point, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you're doing great. Like I said, I find this all fascinating, especially because I think we're kind of doing something similar, but just in different parts of the world, right? So on top of, I know this is a space, but I see this as like us kind of having a coffee and like learning off of
Yeah,
each other, and
yeah,
there just
yeah,
happens to be other people listening, you know?
yeah.
So like you talked about the hackathons already, but like, is there any notable projects, or do you have a favorite project that has come out of some of your hackathons that you really thought like, wow, that just came from like our infrastructure or our ecosystem,
Mm,
I should say.
yeah, yeah. There are a lot of like cool projects that has come out from the hackathons. I won't want to say like, I won't want to say that for the hackathons, right? I won't want to say personally. I can talk personally, but in terms of like that's about like a right project, I don't want to say that because probably I might be like biased or something like that. Because most of these hackathons we do, the thing about it is like we allow it to like very transparent in terms of like voting and giving out prize and all that. So we don't even like get like to judge these hackathons at all. So if you are even like a member of DApps Over Apps and you participate in this hackathon, we'll like call like engineers from like probably like Arbitrum, from like near like just engineers across like the blockchain space to like come judge this hackathon, come review this project. So we don't like really like do anything much in like the facing of like the project. But personally, like one project like kind of like stood out for me, although it didn't stand out for like the judges of the hackathon. I don't know why. That's why I said that it is a different ball game. If we that's what have like a project, if the external judges don't like a project, then that's up to them. Honestly, and they are usually like the ones that will allow us to like decide like which projects to like give like these prices to. So there's one project that stood out for me. It was a WhatsApp. It was a payment solution built on WhatsApp that allows you to like transfer USDT and stable coins and crypto generally through like WhatsApp messaging. So it's like a bot built on WhatsApp. But something again, when I was like trying to like follow on with like the project, and I with my own personal research, I found out that WhatsApp itself is a centralized like entity, so there's a kind of like a clash there. If you're building like a decentralized solution on a centralized entity, then I mean, in the nearest future, WhatsApp can just decide that, hey, we I don't think with my WhatsApp can just like block you, or just like shots like when you're trying to like scale to like that Silicon Valley level, or like a million billions in volume and stuff like that. WhatsApp can just like shut you down and say, hey, we know we don't want this on our infrastructure. This like goes against our rules and regulation, our terms and conditions and stuff like that. Just the way Telegram is shutting out like everyone building a Telegram mini app that is not on Ton chain, just the way Telegram has decided to like shut down all those like any Telegram mini app that is not built with like ton infrastructure. So WhatsApp can just come overnight and just shut down your solution and stuff like that. And again, it's some kind of like it's not it was not just like the in terms of like um pathway for it to like for that kind of solution to like grow. It was like something that was like it was not really clear, but I think that was like a project that stood out for me and the rest of like my team too, because of it's something that would give like that mass adoption we are clamoring for.
That's like the WhatsApp thing. Sorry, I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah. I
I
am
thought
with
I
you.
lost connection for a second, so I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if you would
Oh,
stop
okay, okay,
talking.
okay. Oh,
But that
issue.
WhatsApp thing, like,
Yeah.
so I have a lot of friends in Latin America, and
Mm-hmm.
so 95% of my texting is done on WhatsApp. And I have to
Definitely, me
admit,
too.
I'm guilty where I'll like message people on WhatsApp when they don't use it because I'm trying to keep everything on uh one messaging
One up.
platform.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's so hard to send money and to create an application where I could just send money on WhatsApp would just be amazing. I know like what it's controlled by Facebook, so I imagine I don't know if they like somebody doing that on top of that or if you need their permission. But if they could make that work, that could just be eye opening in so many different parts of the world. That could be a huge game changer.
Yeah, I think there are like other teams that have actually like made that work from like Nigeria. There's this team called Aza. I think they recently like had like their first like I think $1 million in like volume, and it's just like through WhatsApp too. But like the problem of it is like when you're trying to like build these kind of solutions, you don't actually like think for like the short term. You think for like the long term of, okay, what if we like what if we like start scaling, or what will actually like scare like those huge investors like come put their funds in. Those are like the kind of like is the concept of WhatsApp itself that can actually scare them. And again, if you research deeply again, you see that WhatsApp themselves have actually like tried to like delve into crypto with having like a wallet on WhatsApp, which they shut down like after like 4 months or like 5 months from like doing like the testing and then like the beta launch. So these are like kind of like the issues around it. But yeah, I think the solution actually exists, and it is built by someone from Nigeria, Africa right now. It's called Aza. You can check it out too. I think it's a very cool stuff to like have. So yeah, it is.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have to check that out. And this is, I like to learn about new projects all the time. So thank you for mentioning that. Now, you also have, we're able to manage to arrange some quite impressive partnerships like Arbitrum, Near, Solana, just to name a few. Like how are you able to arrange those? Like how did you get in touch with them? Did they contact you or you contacted them? Like how did this happen?
Mm, well, like that's rough. Like that's basically like what we do. Like I think it's not even like those are like not like those are like one of like the a few of like the people that I've partnered with. And that's like basically like what we like sustain up and like what we do like partner with these people, get like these solutions or problem like done for them, and just basically like feel like this gap that is in the is in that's in this specific protocols. So how does this partnership really come to place? Honestly, sometimes at times it might be like them reaching out, or like them reaching out, or most of the time we do reach out and say, okay, this is what we would like like to do with you guys, and they say, oh yeah, cool, pretty stuff, then we'll get to like work and stuff like that. It's not really much of like, for now, like those partnerships you mentioned are not really much of like a big deal to us, because it's not it's still like on the surface level partnership. That's why we're like, more of like the partnership that will come, in the in like more of like partnership that will come like in the nearest future now, and like in months to come now, it's going to be like more of like deep rooted partnership in terms of like helping these protocols actually solve a real problem that would actually save them tons of times, tons of that would save them tons of time and tons of like millions on chain. So one of it is like there's we're working on what we try to work on a security tooling for one protocol specifically. That's going to be like an anomality bot that detects any kind of like strange transactions from the chain that is not the usual kind of transaction. These are like where attackers kind of come in to like steal funds from like the chain and all that. So that's like one project we're trying to like work on, and this is something that would actually like save like chains like millions of dollars in value. And that's just one of the things I'm working on. Just like today, we just like completed a project like Filecoin. It's a retrieval utility tester to like retrieve on-chain data and all that. So basically, like we're just trying to like actually we're trying to be I'll just use the word, we're trying to like be intentional in like this partnership, and be deep rooted in it, and just not just like have like this just like a one-off partnership deal and just come and go, that kind of stuff, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Like partnership these partnerships, they've really like propelled us. We've worked with past SWE, especially. We had our event at BitBuy, and having these like big partnerships really legitimizes you. And we're forever grateful for those who sponsored us in the past, and we'll be very. I'm going to start over. We'll be very grateful for those who wish to partner with us and fund us in the future. Um,
Oh,
so you also mentioned like workshops. Like what are those, and like what do you hope to achieve with those workshops?
mm, okay, so like workshops, like in terms of like workshops are basically like just like train developers on how to build on blockchain. That's basically what our workshops are usually centered around. So we do like workshops like if we like I said, if we're trying to like organize the hackathon with like a new chain, for instance, like the hackathon we organized with like Arbitrum, we had like a whole like 2 month program. We started off with like a workshop, then to like allow developers to not just figure things out themselves, but let's figure it out together. So the workshop is basically like, to train developers, mostly traditional developers, because most of the developers do not have not even like, had reason to like come build on the blockchain infrastructure, or like see how like the whole blockchain decentralization, consensus ledger and whatever thing. They don't really like, care about how those things work, or how those things could impact their solution. So these are like this kind of like workshops, like, we tailor this kind of curriculums to like specific audiences. So like we had like a workshop to like run a validator node. We had workshops to like build decentralized applications. We had workshops on basically like scaling your product in the Web3 way. And yeah, just basically like these workshops are really like tailored around like learning, teaching, and sometimes having fun.
That's cool. Yeah, like workshops are also something we've tried to or thought about dabbling in, and it's always interesting to hear how other people run their own workshops. So what other visions do you have for DApps over apps in the future? What would you like to see your ecosystem become in, let's say, a year, 5 years, and so on?
Well, I think 5 years is a lot of time, but I think
Fair
I'll
enough.
say
Fair enough.
for a year, I would like us to be a kind of like, let's say, how would I put it? I would like us to be like a lab. Like, do you know the way like a lab that's that has vetted a lot of like product that are actually sustainable in the space. So I like us to be like a lab that has vetted like reward asset products, that's vetted products in like payments, that's vetted products in like DeFi, in like different realms of things. So that's like the paths we I would like us to go in. So I would like us to be like a collective of like different founders that hey, I started like I started off this, $1 million projects from just like winning like this small bouncy tax in like that super house. And I got like, this grants to like kickstart. And from there, we're kind of like big now and all thanks to like that super apps, all thanks to like, that super apps. And I want us to like, not just like I don't want us to like, be fragmented as a community, but I want us to be like, be that strong pillar that that controls the different products.
Yeah, that's I have to admit I was unfair for the 5 years, but you did a good job with the 1 year one. That's amazing.
Well, I think it's fair for the 5 years, but I just want to be like, very like optimistic, like, let's do this in like, in 6 months, in like 2 days, if it's possible.
True. I don't
That's
even
the
know what I
vibe.
want. I don't even know where I'm going to be in like 5 months, let alone 5 years. So I have to. I can't
Honestly,
judge.
honestly, yeah. I mean, the space moves very fast. Honestly, like if you ask me, like if you ask those like this question, like um 2 years ago, we'll just say that we want to like keep on organizing like events, like organizing like move on to like organizing like large conferences. But we feel that that's like one thing we could actually like that's like very attainable. But these other things should like let's go for the big things, just like let's go for like the bigger things and the ones that your impact is going to be very clear. And if you are not if you're necessarily like going to like meet anyone for partnership, you're not begging for partnership, you're actually like just asking for partnership. And there will be like there will be like more inclined to like partner with you too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And is there anything else that we haven't really gone over that you'd like to bring up or mention about DApps over apps?
I think there's nothing really much, but I would, like to like mention. I would like to like know more about like Toronto DAO. To like, I met with Kaz last month, and you were saying something about like the Toronto's DAO coin, something like that, that was going to like launch and transform like the economy in like a way or two, like so it's kind of like interesting stuff like you talked about, and I really like picked interest in it. So I don't know if you want to like share in this space or maybe like not this space or another space. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you're referring to is the T coin. Kaz was briefly here, and otherwise I would have invited him to talk more about it because he's the leading expert. But I'll give it a shot. So basically, it's a stable coin that was pegged that's going to be pegged to the fare of a Toronto Transit Commission ride. That's bus, subway, streetcar,
Mm,
and because it's sort of we some oftentimes people criticize the term stablecoin because okay, for instance, Tether, one Tether is $1, but the value of the dollar you could argue is not stable. It fluctuates all the time. And like there's a even in Argentina, there's a quote unquote stable coin to the peso. Um, and when I lived there 5 years ago, oh wow, 6 years ago, Jesus Christ, time flies. Um,
That's like
1 US dollar got you 32 pesos, and now 1 US dollar gets you 1,300 pesos. So I don't know how you could call that, uh, the ARS, which is the name of the token, a stable coin. So um, that's why, like, the T coin will fluctuate in value in terms of uh, money in currency sense, but it will always match the fare of one fare at you on the Toronto Transit. And there's all this other stuff behind it that I don't want to get into in case I explain it wrong. But yeah, we're trying to encourage spending and sort of helping out the local economy here in Toronto.
that's really amazing, really great for like a DAO that I like the fact that you're translating, the DAO is bringing in like reward utilities like its roadmap and all, and its growth strategy. And is there anything like recent that we should look out for like in Toronto? Is there like any like cool events coming up? I saw one event like Beats by something like that like coming up recently, but I don't know like which dates because of the I don't think you guys I think you guys like what like put like the date on the flyer, I guess, or maybe it's like probably like an anticipation flyer or something.
So our events, we don't do events without sponsors. Um, so we have nothing planned as of yet. So we're just kind of in the sponsor hunting phase. So if anybody knows any good sponsors, feel free to reach us out. But yeah, we kind of have this whole mentality of go big or go home. Like our event with BitBuy. So nothing planned yet, but do keep an eye out for that. I do also want to mention our Bespoke Beaver, which I mentioned it briefly at the Art Gallery at our event, which is basically um, it based on your tweets, your likes, your posts, your comments, your retweets. It tells you what it tells you what it believes you think you would enjoy in Toronto, where to eat, where to have a good time, any museums that you might like. So that's something that we're also working on. It's mostly finished. We're just looking for sponsors to have their logos surrounding the application. But yeah, I would say those are the big things that we're working on behind the scenes right now.
That's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. Are you guys looking for like since it's like a Toronto DAO, are you guys not looking for like some kind of like sort of like partnership like the Toronto government or something? Kind of like funding and because of it's more of like something that's not just like for like Web3 people and it's more I think it's something that I don't know. Just are you guys looking for like government partnership or stuff like
So
that?
we have not we've talked to some government people informally, like just not really reaching out, but we've bumped into various people from different government establishments, mostly the city of Toronto. But we have not formally like tried to work out a partnership. But if it's something that would benefit us, I don't definitely don't see why not.
Yeah, because I think it's something that will benefit you because of like I think it's something that will benefit and kind of like accelerate like the whole process of achieving like the whole transits, stablecoin goal and stuff like that. I think it's something that the government would really appreciate too if you bring forward. So I think it's the shot you should want to go for. Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I think if it works out, I know with the whole crypto scene, sometimes governments are a little bit scared. But yeah, I definitely, if as long as it could benefit both of us, we would definitely be open to that.
Yeah, yeah, should. So like how often do you have like the spaces sort of is it every other Thursday or just
No, we
Thursdays or
have
something?
spaces every Thursday at 2 o'clock Eastern time. So 2 o'clock Toronto time.
Okay.
We generally like to have guests. We're trying to start a panel. We do have a guest next week. We'll make all the announcements soon regarding that. But we find that it's helpful to have consistency with this, with the guest, with the spaces,
Yeah.
because then people don't even have to like look for an announcement. Really, they just know when the space is.
Just
It also avoids like miscommunication. We once had a guest that was like insistent the space was like at a different time, and we're like, no, we have the space every week, so there's no way we said that.
mm, okay.
But yeah, consistency is key. So we do have
Yeah.
spaces every Thursday at 2 o'clock.
Interesting. Interesting. Think yeah. So is there any other thing you like to for like DApps Over Apps or like whatever probably there could be like a kind of like partnership with like Toronto DAO and DApps Over Apps, or
Well, we're always
something.
open to partnerships, including for like dApps versus apps. Maybe this is something we could keep the conversation going after this space, and we could work
Sure.
out the details. But yeah, we'd definitely be interested in that. I do like to say that we have like our ongoing Zeely campaign. Um, I am not very creative with the codes, but if you just put in DApps, one word, lowercase, all lowercase on the Zeely campaign for the DApps Over Apps quest, you will get the points for this week. So I encourage you all to go check that out. Um, and it's going to be something to help us out when we're developing our membership, in terms of tracking people who are attending and regular events. But so do check out that. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, for being a guest on our space this week. This has been highly informative. I hope our listeners, now both live and who listen to the recordings afterwards, found it as informative as I do. Um, but thank you, Anna, for co-hosting this space and doing the behind the scenes technical details. But yeah, my name is Matthew from Toronto DAO. We have our weekly spaces, and we'll see you all next week. And I hope you have a lovely weekend ahead.